Hello, welcome to something a little bit different again from us at Radio Roll. Something that I'm tentatively calling Lore Dump, a series where I sit down and have a conversation with myself about my favorite lore subjects, and hopefully, maybe one day we'll get someone else in, maybe in a Discord call to chat with me, and hopefully if this strikes a chord with you, if you agree with anything I say or disagree with anything I say, you'll put that in the comments and we can have a nice civil discussion down there as well. But anyway, what I want to do for this is, as I say, talk about lore for my favourite intellectual properties. And this week, it just seemed right that we talk about the abhorrent imperative mission for Destiny 2's Season of the Seraph. Because oh boy, what a doozy. That was a lot. Um, so yeah, this is a spoiler warning. If you are a Destiny 2 player who has this current season but has not played this week's mission, then this isn't the video for you, unless you just don't care about spoilers, in which case, fair enough. I can kind of sympathize with that. But if you do care about spoilers, this is it. It's just, I'm not going to be holding back on talking about very important spoiler things. And also, I might go into speculation about the future of Destiny, and especially with Lightfall on the horizon. I probably won't be right with anything, but I don't want to make speculations and then turn out to be right and feel like someone having watching this agrees with me and goes, "Ah, shit, I knew that." That's sort of because having something predicted is kind of shit as well in some ways. But anyway, this is going to be a sit-down chat about the things that happened in the Season of the Seraph final mission and the final cutscene. So I'm going to blitz through most of the mission because obviously, you know, it's the main final cutscene that's the big deal. But for those who haven't played the mission who are still here, TLDR is one of the big bads for the last couple years, really, but especially the last two seasons, has basically gone, okay, fuck you, I want the Traveller. Which, if you're not aware of who the Traveller is, big ball. Just type in Destiny 2 Traveller in Google. It's just this big orb that can grant the different species of the universe crazy powers, like producing big fiery guns, and I was going to say spooky ice, but that's a darkness power, so and bubbles, big purple bubbles. Anyway, yeah, the one of the big bads of the last couple of seasons, called Eramis, has basically gone, you know what? If my race of people, the Fallen / the Elixni, can't have the Traveller, then no one can. So it is then decided that Rasputin, this super weapon AI, goes that we don't have any other choice other than for me to self-destruct. But in order for that to happen, people have to do things, on what's called Seraph Station, and make sure that, my sort of mind gets uploaded, so I can go, all right, all these other satellites that are linked to my mind, go boom, and no one can use them ever. Not even like that's the thing. Like, not only is this a massive sacrifice that would kill Rasputin, it would also obviously be a massive sacrifice for humanity, because we would then lose one of our biggest weapons. This massive orbital, like, defense array that could, with especially things that I'll get into, could be very, very, very useful to have. So, it's big. And also, it's kind of sad because one of the people who helped create Rasputin, who, instead of just letting this thing be a unthinking, unfeeling artificial intelligence, taught it things like art and creative thinking, and made it, this person gave it a personality. So for them, not only are they unplugging and saying goodbye to just an artificial intelligence, they're saying goodbye to a friend who they've already lost once, because they died in one of the big climactic events that led up to Destiny as a franchise, a big lore event. They died and then got resurrected by the Traveler as a guardian much later. So, they've already experienced this loss once. So they're now having to go, okay, this is something we've got to do, and I don't want to do it because this is my friend. So it's like bad times for everyone. And it's the animation for the scenes where this poor woman is basically, about to unplug their friend. It's like, it's rough. It's fucking rough. But anyway, you get onto this space station. You kill a lot of guys. Shooter things happen. I died a lot. I think I died about 30 times in the final boss encounter alone. It was not easy, especially I was doing it solo. So, the last section was just playing the floor is lava, but I didn't notice that there were safe spaces to stand until about 5-10 deaths. I was like, oh, shit. But anyway, you kill a wizard, which is one of the big, like, special enemy types, that is called the Scourge of the Earth. So now, across this season, during a lot of the seasonal events, we've been fighting other wizards who have all had names that are the Scourge of something. Basically different planets and locations and species that a race called the Hive have wiped out. So I think one of them was like Scourge of the Krill, which is one of the first races the Hive destroyed back on their sort of home place. It's got so much. It is a planet, I think. I'm gonna have to read that book again, aren't I? But anyway, so obviously having this wizard be called Scourge of the Earth, it's like, oh shit, this is big, because it basically says that the races that align themselves with this nebulous evil power called the Darkness, and their sort of leader, the Witness, they at least seemingly genuinely believed that this was the end. The Earth was done with the plans that they had. it's just over. And obviously, at least for the wizard's dead now. Or at least, you know, unless weird magic voodoo things happen and the wizard comes back later on, which sort of has happened in the past with some enemies. Anyway, we kill the wizard, and then we hear, you know, chatter from some key NPCs, basically saying some, you know, there's activity in the city. Everyone's looking, you know, looking for something that's happening, and then we get this cutscene that says the traveler is leaving. It's rising from a place has basically sat for 9 years. So again, for those who aren't aware, the Traveler, this big grey orb, for the last 9 years of Destiny and Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, up until now, has sat in very, very low orbit. Maybe a few, maybe 1,000 meters up at max. Like, it's just sat in Earth's atmosphere, just fairly dormant. And then with this cutscene, the Traveler just rises from the planet. Just, this thing doesn't speak. It just is. So it can't say, hey, I'm out. It just leaves. And there's a lot of chatter again among a lot of the NPCs going, hey, hang on, you know, people are scared. There are characters who look at each other. There are two very specific characters who are in a relationship who put their arms around each other basically because one of them especially is no longer has a ghost, so they don't have the power they once did. So if anything happened to them, they'd be dead for good. So that's rough for them. There's one of the Elixni who has turned to our side, sort of gets up on a container and almost looks at this thing going, please don't leave. Like, I get that you've not given us, like, my race any help, but by proxy our allies, the humans, the Awoken, you know, the Exos, the guys that you've given this power, they need you as much, and we need you too. Please stop. But no, it just leaves, and all the while the stuff that's been happening throughout this mission, this plan to destroy the Traveler, happens. We just, you know, see one of these big satellite laser arrays pointed at the Traveler, and for a second you do, at least I genuinely thought, yep, it's over. That's the Traveler gone. That's it. That was genuinely a second where I was like, is this it? This is, you know, are they just gonna do it before the big expansion? They're just gonna go, yeah, fuck it. If you didn't buy this season, goodbye. Tough shit. You are out of the loop. But yeah, it turns out that the Traveler is still there when it cuts back. And the big bad of basically the entire franchise just talks to the person that was meant to destroy it, saying it's not leaving because it has nowhere else to go. And that's powerful, especially as we see this big fleet of pyramid ships that are, you know, the main ships of this character called the Witness, who is, at least for now, seemingly the big bad of the franchise. I have a slight theory that they may not be quite who they seem. Um, so yeah, that's basically the cutscene ending as this fleet of pyramid ships enters our solar system with Jupiter in the background, and it's just like, oh fuck, oh fuck. It's like there's a real. I think that's the important thing. There is a real sense, at least to me, of finality that this 10-year journey that Bungie as a development team and us as players have been on, that this is coming to some sort of a conclusion. And that's genuinely, I'm hyped for it, but I'm also really fucking sad because I have made friends through this game and I've reconnected with friends who I previously hadn't spoken to in a while. Like, this game is such a big part of the last, you know, 9 years, you know, unless they really fuck it up, you know, it will be a big part of the last 10 years of my life. And that's not something I've really been able to say about anything in my life before. And to be able to say that about a game is mental. But yeah, that's the cutscene, and you know, you go back to the tower, your sort of home base, and you speak to the two leaders of your faction, and they basically go, "Yeah, this is terrifying. This is bad." Yeah. But anyway, so that's what happens, and yeah, the implications of what's going on now are genuinely fascinating. That's another point. During this cutscene where the traveler is leaving, as it leaves the Earth, it recreates one of the most iconic pieces of key imagery of the franchise, and it's incredible. So, one of the main posters for the first game was a just a poster with the Destiny logo, the Traveler, and just hovering above the Earth. And during this trailer, not trailer, during this cutscene, as the trailer leaves Earth, it's seen just floating above the Earth. Like, at first, it's, you know, moving left to right across the screen, but then it sort of, the screen, well, the camera, you know, the digital camera in the CG scene flips, so it's, instead of moving left to right, it's slowly moving up, and just seeing that imagery made me just go, "Holy shit! This is it's gone full circle." Like, obviously, with Destiny 1 didn't launch to what I think Bungie wanted it to. And a lot of Destiny 2 has been about bringing Destiny as a franchise and a story to what they wanted it to be initially, which I think is why they haven't, instead of going to Destiny 3 as their, after the third expansion, which is what they did with the first game, they've just kept going with Destiny 2 now. Um, or second expansion rather. They just kept going, which is, I think, I genuinely prefer that myself. Even though the game is getting quite chunky right now, it's a good 100 odd gigs. Thankfully, it's not got too much bigger over the last couple years. I think mostly through um, putting away some content, they have managed to keep the size down. But anyway, yeah, this happens, and yeah, I have thoughts mostly on the Warmind Rasputin and the exoframe that they were put into earlier in the season and died during this cutscene. And also why the Traveler didn't fully leave. So let's start off with vague speculation on if Rasputin is dead. And I don't know. There's part of me that really wants to just go, yep, just they're gone. But also there's also part of me that thinks maybe there's something of his consciousness might have survived in this exo body that has acted as a main point in the campaign. Maybe there's something that's just this little spark of life that is just stuck there, burned onto, whatever sort of brain they have in this limbless exoframe body that they've got. Maybe there's something there that could be reawakened down the line. They maybe wouldn't have their full powers, they did, but maybe. Now here's some wild speculation. Maybe if the Traveler hasn't left, maybe they could be reawoken as a Guardian. They have an exo body. They're not a human consciousness, technically, but they're free thinking. They're free thinking. They've been shown to have a true sense of morality, especially with what they were originally programmed and designed to do that they didn't, because they originally, when they were created by this megalomaniacal nut job called Clover Spray, they were created to destroy the Traveler and for them to be this one big sort of powerful center of mankind in the same way that the Traveler has become. Because Clovis Bray was a self-centered dickhead who was just like, all of you will look upon me and go, yeah, he's a cool dude. It's like, no, you blackmailed your granddaughter into showing up to a place. Other things. If you want lore that's not rambling and just fucking all over the place, I'm gonna drop a link. That's the word, to a channel called My Name is Bife, who does some of the best lore videos. If you're a Destiny fan, maybe you're probably already a fan yourself. But maybe if you're trying to get into Destiny, then I'll drop a link in the description and give them a look, because it's really good. It's really good stuff. But anyway, I don't know if Rasputin is gone for good. They could always come back through, somehow. This is sci-fi. End of the day, if Bungie wanted that character back, they could just go, "Yep, they're back." Um, and fans would probably be angry because it would probably feel a bit convoluted and contrived, but they're also great storytellers, so I think they'd come up with something that would make fans go, "Yeah, that makes sense. Cool." Um, but yeah, that I think is possible. And finally, the Traveler leaving. Um, I I think personally, and from what I've seen, this is a sentiment shared by most of the community. The Traveler didn't stay because it was cornered and it had nowhere else to go. It stayed because I think for all the bad that humanity has done, even with the Traveler's gifts and its powers, by allowing Rasputin to sacrifice itself and humanity willingly basically destroying one of its greatest weapons against its greatest enemy, the Traveler saw that humanity and the solar system as a whole is capable and deserving of its help. And it just went, okay, you guys are still kind of fucked up, but you, we've got bigger fish to fry, so I'm gonna stick around for a bit. I don't like you, but I think I'm fucked if I do, fucked if I don't. And yeah, that happened. Also, not finally, because this is the final bit of the witness, the creepy dude that spoke during the cutscene. Um, I don't think they're the big bad. I just don't. I think there's. I think that the end of the final shape, which is the expansion that will be coming up basically this time next year, most likely. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we find out that this guy we've been fighting against the forces of, this guy who we have looked at as the witness and gone, you bad, you stop. Um, I think he's just as much of a puppet as the other evil races, the Hive, some of the Cabal that have joined him, and the Elixni that have joined him. And yeah, there's a sub faction of the Vex, weird sort of time travel robots. They're also excuse me that also follow this guy. I think he is just just a spokesperson for this evil dark power. I think there's I think there might be something that is an equivalent to the Traveler for the Darkness that is just as evil. Because as we've seen over the last couple years, the Darkness is not necessarily evil. It's yeah. There's a lot more nuance to it. Just like the so-called light that we've been using isn't all good. There are people who use the so-called light-based powers for a lot of bad, and even in the last expansion, the Traveler resurrected kind of one of the series' big bads, and it was kind of mental. So yeah, I don't think we're done quite yet. I think, does Destiny go another 10 years after the final shape is wrapped up and concluded? Who knows? Maybe not. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go, okay, this is just the beginning of the end. Which I'd love, because, like I say, the idea that this whole, you know, the last year or so of storytelling has had a bit of a sense of finality to it has been terrifying, because this game is a lot to me. Like, I've genuinely considered getting Destiny tattoos because of how much this game has meant to me, and the way it's shaped me as a person. It's been with me basically since I was 18, which is terrifying to think. um, but yeah, that's the video. Um, if you have stuff that you want me to talk about lore wise, do say in the comments. And if you agree with anything I've said, disagreed with anything I've said, let's have a pleasant conversation in the comments. Let's have a laugh about it. Let's see what other wild takes we have. Obviously, being polite, pleasant. That words. What I did something terrifying earlier today, and I'm still coming down off that sort of like, shit, I'm actually doing this sort of adrenaline. Like, it's not quite, skydiving adrenaline, but I'm saying something that maybe isn't terrifying for me, but yeah. Anyway, so comments, please. I'd love to chat to people and see what they've thought about it. And if you've got any other lore stuff that you want me to talk about, I'm almost definitely going to be talking about Warhammer, because obviously, I might grab Sam or Roan for that, especially Sam, because I think we have a good laugh about that, even though two people talking about Warhammer as a podcast. I guess, obviously Adeptus Ridiculous didn't invent talking about Warhammer and Warhammer related lore in a more comedic way, but it does sort of feel like, ripping them off, like looking at the big fish and seeing what they're doing. But, they didn't invent it. So, we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's the plan. And as for plans for other videos going forward, I still need to start editing Starfinder. I'm sorry, guys. It was gonna be Sam editing episode 3 because he edited episode 2. But obviously Sam's got a full-time job, and he's also going to be editing Terra going forward because Roan's got a full-time job and a part-time job. The mad bastard. So it is going to be me editing Starfinder, which that's terrifying. But it's something that I sort of want to do because it's a big, scary project, and I think that's a good way to learn, basically. But yeah, also, I want to do more videos, just keeping some of you guys up to date with tabletop games. What's going on in this wonderful, wonderful hobby of ours? What's coming out? What's happening? So yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing weekly videos on what's coming out, especially for Warhammer, but it might be that once a month I go, here's the things that have released. What do I think about it? Went weirdly sort of stereotypical Italian, and I don't like that. Anyway, that's been it. Thank you so much for watching this. If you've watched this far, you're great. I appreciate you, and I hope the people around you appreciate you too, because you're awesome. Stay safe. See ya.